Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is warning lawmakers on Capitol Hill to get ready for some late nights. Between government funding, the defense bill, voting rights, the debt ceiling, President Biden's Build Back Better spending plan, members of Congress have a long to-do list, and with just roughly 2 weeks scheduled of legislative business before the end of the year, they have very little time to do it. Joining us right now is Julia Manchester from the Hill. Good morning to you, Julia. That's a laundry list of items. What's the most pressing one for Democrats? Is it the Build Back Better plan?
Yeah, I think the Build Back Better plan, Adrienne, would definitely be at the top of most Democratic lawmakers' list right now. Look, President Biden signed that infrastructure package yesterday into law, marking a major victory for a lot of Democrats. But Biden needs to appease the progressive wing of the party as well. And part of appeasing them is passing that Build Back Better plan, which is already smaller than a lot of progressives would have originally hoped. So he is very much hoping, and Democrats are very much hoping, to get that plan passed by the end of the year. The problem is, though, we have the CBO score coming out, the congressional budget score coming out later this week, and then we're going to see some moderate Democrats look at that to see how that impacts or what the impact of this bill eventually will be. So nothing is set in stone right now, but definitely a laundry list, not only with the social spending bill, but with the large defense bill that's supposed to come to the floor, as well as voting rights. You obviously have passing the debt ceiling to raise the debt ceiling. That's also on the agenda. So definitely a busy couple of weeks for Democrats as well as Republicans on Capitol Hill.
And Senator Chuck Schumer, he sent a memo to his caucus over the weekend asking lawmakers to keep their schedules flexible in the coming weeks. So how flexible can they be ahead of the holiday?
You know, we've seen lawmakers have to make their schedules flexible in order to get legislation passed and make progress on a lot of these initiatives. So it's very possible that we could see them spending more time on Capitol Hill during the holiday season. Now, do I think a lot of them will want to be on Capitol Hill instead of home in their districts? Probably not. So I think, you know, we'll have to see. But I think there's going to be pressure over the next 2 weeks to really jam as much of this in as possible. There's a lot of political pressure on Democrats, I would say, though. There are a number of polls that have come out showing Democrats really trailing Republicans on the congressional ballot, as well as President Biden's approval rating also sinking. So Democrats are under pressure to really push legislation through and make sure that legislation gets through in time ahead of the midterms so Americans can start to see the effects of that legislation in action.
The president, as well as the vice president's approval ratings slipping. We see a lot of this kicking the can down the road, the buying of time that the House has had to initiate over the fall, that last-minute scramble. Are they going to be doing that same thing again in December, or will they have to hit a wall? Will they have to make a decision?
You know, I think it's possible that they could kick the can down the road. That seems to be the norm on Capitol Hill these days. I think right now we are just at such a partisan environment on the Hill that it's hard to see where a lot of compromise is made, especially in this very short amount of time. It seems like it's very difficult to appease either side. So I could see definitely on a number of these issues, whether it's voting rights or that Build Back Better plan, that being kicked down the road. However, we also have this issue of the debt ceiling and whether that's going to be raised in time. But it seems that Democrats, as well as some Republicans, say that can wait until December. Senator Dick Durbin calling it a December problem. So, you know, I think next month, ahead of the holidays, is when we're going to see a lot of action, or maybe even a lack of action, if there's partisanship gets in the way.
But December is such a short month, Julia. We all know this. Wasn't it pushed back to a December deadline, like December 8th? I'm trying to remember all the numbers now.
Yeah, it was December 3rd, and we've actually seen some analysis has come out that essentially say that this could wait for the debt ceiling, could wait, you know, December, maybe through January or February. But I think we're going to see a lot of lawmakers want to get this out of the way during December in order to start the year off fresh next year.
Oh, my goodness. Can we all just start the year off fresh? Press the big fat reset button. All right. Thank you so much, Julia. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.